You ever have one of those nights where everything's so normal it feels like nothing bad could ever happen? That was me just after 7 on a Tuesday, the sky gone that deep blue behind the ridge, my bourbon sweating on the side table, sleeves rolled up, the house so still I could hear the ice settling in my glass. Then 3 sharp knocks on my door, sharp enough to make the dog bark if I'd had one, but all I had was my own pulse speeding up and the kind of gut feeling you get when you know trouble's wearing new shoes tonight. I peered through the side window. Saw a guy on my porch, looked like he'd come straight out of a cop catalog. Tactical pants, blue polo with a gold badge, wraparound shades, at dusk, the works. He flashes a laminated ID, HOA, Compliance Enforcement, Maple Pines Community Oversight. I didn't recognize the name, but I recognized the attitude, legs apart, chest out a little too into his own authority. I cracked the door. Evening, he says, not so much friendly as formal. Officer Trent Marshall. We're conducting a compliance sweep for the HOA. Got reports of non-permitted alterations to fencing, potential code infractions on your back deck. I'll need to inspect your property. No smile, no neighborly. How's it going? Just business. I gave him my best prosecutor's poker face, said, "You'll need to inspect my property." Yes, sir. Regulation 14B grants entry for visual verification if there are repeat or unresolved reports. He holds out a packet paperwork I didn't touch. Who are you with again, I ask. Maple Pines Community Oversight Subdivision of Civic Residential Compliance. We're contracted through the HOA, standard protocol for repeat cases. That part didn't add up. I'd lived here 3 years, never missed a payment, never so much as a warning about weeds. Bought my place in a private sale before the HOA even updated their books. More importantly, I'm a county prosecutor. I know the law, and I know compliance officers don't get to go snooping around private property without a court order, let alone some random contract. But I didn't let on. I just said, let me get my shoes. He started in about fencing complaints about my deck satellite images, drainage rerouting. I shut the door, walked to the kitchen, not for shoes, but for my phone. Started recording, slipped it in my shirt pocket, flipped on the little security cam over the door. Came back and said flat, I think I'll pass on the inspection tonight. He tensed. Refusal to comply may result in escalation. I said, you don't have a right to enter my property without a warrant. That's the law, even if you were real. He blinked, then pushed a paper at me. I need you to sign this refusal of compliance notice, Mr. Garner. This is being documented. I didn't move. Let me make something clear. I've never received an HOA violation, and I know there's no contract with your company. I've checked. His eyes flickered. You'll hear from our attorney, sir. No, you'll hear from mine. I closed the door and listened to his boots crunch back the walkie-talkie static, then nothing. I waited, then backed up the camera footage, zoomed in on his badge. The ID was fake, wrong state, seal, wrong year, bogus number. Courtroom instincts kicked in, evidence stacking up in my head. Whoever this was tried to scare his way onto my property. Bad move. By dawn, I was hunting, scouring databases, contract registries, HOA disclosures, all fueled by cold coffee and old anger. Officer Trent Marshall didn't exist, not in any law enforcement records, no contractor's license, nothing. Civic Residential Compliance wasn't even a real business, no license, no real website, no physical office except for a dead printing shop. This was a shell, a front. Somebody built it just to shake down homeowners. I fired off a letter to the HOACC, the board, the management company. The lawyer worded carefully but not too nice. As a resident and an officer of the court, I want immediate proof of any contract with this so-called compliance company, or I'll file for injunction and investigation into impersonation and trespass. Took about 2 hours to get a response. The HOA attorney claimed no knowledge, promised an investigation. Translation, someone's in trouble and it's not me. I started knocking on doors. Folks mostly polite, some nervous, but when I mentioned a fake officer, the stories came out. Mrs. Levine, widowed and sweet as pie, said a man matching Trent's description had threatened her with fines over a gutter installed years before. She'd been too scared to sleep for days. The Chen's new parents with toddlers got a bogus pink slip for their playhouse. Call the number, nobody answers. 7 houses all hit with fake violations, all left with paperwork that unraveled as soon as you squinted. QR codes went nowhere. Shell game, smoke, and mirrors. By night, I'd assembled a file, 43 pages of screenshots, scanned notices, video, and my own commentary. I needed one last thing, so I combed through my security footage again. The man came on foot, but as he left, there was a glimpse of a truck in the hedges. Zoomed in, enhanced, grabbed the plate, registered to Trent Marshland Property Management Consultant, lived just outside the HOA tied to a defunct LLC that matched the fake letterhead. Suddenly I saw it. This wasn't just some grifter. Trent was connected. Maybe failed at legit business, now freelancing with a little help from someone on the inside. Time for backup. I called my friend Claire, a real estate attorney who knows how to light a fire under the right people. Explained everything. She listened, then said, "Bring it all. We're filing for civil harassment injunction, and if the board's involved, conspiracy and fraud." We met the next morning, spread evidence across her table. As she read, her look shifted from curious to furious. "These violations don't even exist in your bylaws," she said, tapping her pen. "They sound real enough to scare someone, though." We decided to go public, filed a cease and desist, put the HOA on legal notice, threatened to name anyone involved. Then, just to be sure, we filed for a restraining order and a referral to the DA for criminal impersonation. That night, I got a voicemail from a blocked number. "This is not your fight. Walk away. You're just another homeowner. If you keep pushing, you'll regret it." Classic intimidation, untraceable, but the tone told me everything. The next day, the HOA president sent a community update pretending to get ahead of it, but really just scrambling. I showed up to the board meeting, folder in hand, briefcase suit. Didn't wait for permission, marched right up, handed over the legal complaint, and projected Trent's face for everyone to see. The room rippled with gasps. Neighbors started whispering, asking how he knew about their private complaints. The president, Marilyn, went pale. Vince, her right-hand man, tried to act surprised. I called them out, made it clear, if someone on this board is in on it, I will see you in court. A volunteer secretary slipped Claire a flash drive after the meeting, emails, invoices, secret memos. The smoking gun. Turns out Marilyn and Vince had been using Trent as their private enforcer, sending him after anyone who complained about fees, questioned budgets, or didn't play along. The email trails were sickening. Just scare her enough to stop sending letters, we'll reimburse tea under the table. Fraud, conspiracy, kickbacks. We filed everything: restraining orders, criminal complaints, an emergency injunction. I was pulled off active prosecutor duty by my boss, too close to the case, which was fine by me. That night we called a town hall, invited every neighbor, shared what we'd found. Emails, audio, security video, everything. By the end of the night, I wasn't just a guy with a bourbon on his porch, I was the neighbor who stood up. The story spread. Social media, local news, regional papers. Tips poured in. Other neighborhoods had the same fake compliance officer, same threats, same shell companies. We mapped it, found the pattern. Every victim was elderly, non-native English, or a troublemaker who'd called out the HOA. Trent was the tool, Marilyn and Vince the ones holding the handle. When a mother named Rhonda told us Trent had come while her teenage son was home alone, threatening him walking through their yard, I'd had enough. Claire filed for a criminal warrant. Within 72 hours, Trent was arrested in Arizona, a van full of burner phones, fake badges, and a folder of quiet contacts, emails from Marilyn and Vince. The case blew wide open. Did that stop them? Not a chance. Someone hurled a rock through my window at 2 a.m., left a note. Next time it won't be just glass. I fixed it myself. No insurance, no outside help. I wasn't going to let fear win. Claire and I built a database, 40 cases, then 50. Took it to the state attorney general. Agents took it seriously, sealed subpoenas, financial audits, a freeze on the HOA's accounts. Marilyn and Vince tried to smear me, said I was a liar, disgruntled, a danger to the neighborhood. Didn't work. Neighbors circulated a recall petition, over 100 signatures in 2 days. The board was dissolved by a landslide vote. What happened next felt bigger than us. Class action suits, state investigations, new laws for HOA transparency and oversight. News crews camped outside, families dropped by to thank us. Other communities reached out, asking how to fight back. The predators were dragged into the light. Marilyn was arrested on her own driveway. Vince turned himself in. Trent's ledger revealed a regional racket targeting the most vulnerable, lining their pockets with fake fines and intimidation. Now Maple Pines is different. No more surprise notices, no more anonymous threats, just neighbors mowing lawns, painting benches, organizing potlucks. The place finally feels like home. Claire and I opened a legal clinic in her garage, free advice templates, a place for people to come with their stories. The state passed the Homeowner Protection and Transparency Act. I even got asked to run for mayor, didn't say yes, but didn't laugh it off either. Yeah, I still get threats. Once found a dead bird nailed to my mailbox, but I don't flinch. Not anymore. I keep the original fake violation letter framed on my office wall. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Change doesn't start with a mob or a speech. Sometimes it starts with 3 sharp knocks on your door and the simple decision not to back down. So now I'm telling you this. What's right isn't always easy, but it's always worth the fight. Don't let fear or bullies in bad polos take your home from you. Stand up, learn your rights, and help your neighbors do the same. And if you've ever tangled with an HOA or just want to weigh in on justice and what a real community should look like, drop your story or your take in the comments. Because trust me, the real work starts with voices like yours.